that's the salad of the day for me. Yum yum. And James is still having leftovers. I was inspired by a recipe out of this book, and I'm still using the apple cider vinegar a lot. And and James is going to be going over, he's analyzing the lyrics for a few songs from that Van Morrison thing. Oh, I'm going to show you something. So the berries, they don't have a whole lot of net carbs, the raspberries, but I just put some on the top because 1 cup of them is 6 to 8 net grams net grams of carbs. And so I used a whole lot less than that. Now the recipe that I was kind of inspired by, I wanted to make this salad before I saw this, but here's this salad, and so there's the recipe that they used for their broccoli salad. But it's basically similar, I guess, because these sort of broccoli salads are. But I'll tell you what I did differently with mine. So, oh, I'm knocking things over. Oh no. My little Miss Magic. Don't want to do that. So, boy, it's awfully bright, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect the camera too much.
I don't know. You want me to look at it? What I did differently is I guess it's okay. I put I chopped up my broccoli. I didn't put very much red onion because I can't handle it. And I made so I chopped up the broccoli beforehand. I did that this morning so that it would be ready, and I still have some ready. So that's really handy with the cruciferous vegetables. You can chop them up ahead of time and they're going to be just as good for a long time. And so that's really helpful. And I shelled the walnuts because right now you can get walnuts for really cheap in the shells, and they store well that way. That's the way they're meant to store, in the shells, nuts in the shells. So I've had these walnuts actually since last Christmas, I think, and we just haven't done a whole lot with them. I bought quite a few, and then we did a lot with them for a while, and then I didn't. So I still have quite a few to go through, but I look forward to buying even more because they go really cheap this time of year. But anyway, so I had that ready ahead of time. And I had thought, well, what am I going to do because I wanted to make a broccoli sort of salad, you know, the typical kind with the bacon. Usually people put bacon in it, but vegetarian people usually put fake bacon, bacon bits or whatever in it. But I wanted to make this sort of salad, but I didn't want to use the fake bacon bits, and I certainly didn't want to use real. So if you recall, I showed how I made a recipe for a BLT with carbonate bread a little while ago, and instead of I didn't put any mushrooms in this, but I fried up my garlic in a little bit of olive oil over low heat, and then while that was happening, then I mushed up the avocado with some apple cider vinegar and a little bit of salt and liquid smoke. And so this is very similar to my BLT recipe, but it's a broccoli salad. So then I normally people would use mayonnaise, or if they're vegetarian or vegan, they might prefer a not mayo, you know, something made with another oil like canola oil or something instead, with no eggs. But avocado, really great replacement for mayo, and better. So anyway, So I did it with avocado instead of that. And usually people will put sunflower seeds in the salad, but I put walnuts because I have walnuts, and why not? And usually people will put raisins in the salad. That's the typical thing, is to put raisins in this sort of salad, and it's yum that way. But right now on the keto diet, not going to do that. So another keto vegan recipe right here that is delicious. So I think everyone would like it. And so now I guess James is going to talk about Van Morrison, because I'm done introducing my dinner for the day. He's still eating his pizza, his yam crust pizza from yesterday. He I guess
More of it would have been finished up, except I had some milk to eat with cereal, to take with cereal. Overnight I had 2 bowls of cereals. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Van Morrison, remembering now. There's a picture, of course, of Van Morrison on this.
Nope.
At the library book sale, I got a Van Morrison.
Oh, you did?
Kind of like a retread. It's just
Well,
doing blues.
Before you analyze the song lyrics,
Okay.
I do want to point out that we really enjoyed listening to this album over and over and over in the car.
On the radio. Oh, yeah.
On-
Not on the radio, but on the car.
That's all.
Not as much as the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, James loving that.
Yeah, it helps me handle crappy drivers. I'm pretty well every driver out on the road. I try to be the exception. I try. Because
So good.
really crappy, folks. If you're speeding, you're a crappy driver. You really are. Especially if you're speeding in town. One thing if you're going 10 over the limit on the highway, percentage-wise, it's really not that much.
So good.
If you're going 10 over the limit,
Do you want to try bite? I'll give you even a raspberry. Which is very generous of me because I didn't put very many in mine. What do you think?
just a long time ago, a little trouble with my esophagus, so I have to chew. Oh, it's great. I mean, nuts go well with food and with veggies. You have some onions in there, put those on kind.
My angel said I should put it in, so I just put a little.
Yeah. Track 2. If it wasn't for Ray.
So split your screen and pull up If It Wasn't for Ray
From
by
Van
Morrison in
Remember
another
Why.
window. And that way you'll be able to follow James along.
I'm going to read the lyric. Hope I'm not infringing copyright. We're not making any money on this. None at all. And it's kind of like an advertisement for Van Morrison. I'm even going to be singing it. Wasn't for Ray, wouldn't be where I am today. Wasn't for Ray. Tell me, what did I say? Wasn't for Ray, ... It wasn't for his sound. Never have gone up the ground. It wasn't for his sound, which was so profound. It wasn't for Ray. wouldn't be what I am today. Reinvented soul, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, country and western too. This music just grew. If it wasn't for Ray, wouldn't be where I am today. If it wasn't for Ray singing something. Singing "Tell Me What I Said." If it wasn't for Ray, wouldn't be where I am. And, fairly rudimentary lyrics. Who's the Ray he's talking about? Isn't Sugar Ray Leonard? Q is singing "Tell Me What I Say." So one of Ray Charles' big hits was "What Did I Say?" Fact is, it was such a big hit with the Beatles. That was their, I got it, when they were doing their live act, eventually that became their centerpiece or something like that. They'd make kind of an extended, maybe almost jam on it. Kind of like Ray Charles. Certainly don't like him as much as Joe Cocker used to. Even still does. Hope you're still alive.
The second line, the rhythm is wrong. It says, would and where should get the accents, not be.
No, if it wasn't for Ray, gets that right. Wouldn't be where I am today. What does he sing? Wouldn't be where I am today.
He gives B the accent.
Wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be where I am today. No, he comes from Ireland, Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah.
There might be a little bit of difference in
because
accent.
They do accent things differently across the drink.
Yeah. No, that's not much excuse because when you move to a place, you should try to make some adaptation. For the longest while, we lived in the United States. I think he's back in Ireland now. But so maybe it's okay if he goes back. He moved to the United States at 67. Went solo. I think his first release was quite successful. Single release. It was called "Brown Eyed Girl." One of the better songs from 1967. I don't think it sold as well as many other things from 67. But there isn't necessarily a very strong correlation between quality, especially top 40 radio, and whatever it's succeeded at now, and success, monetary success. So it's about Ray Charles, and I'd say I've detected a huge Ray Charles influence in Van Morrison. Van Morrison's absorbed a lot of different influences from all over the place. Apparently his parents had not so much a huge record collection, but an eclectic record collection. So he's raised on a lot of different sounds. I think as well, with some of the American servicemen that were over in England, some stuff was available. No. Yeah, they're probably... See, Northern Ireland's still part of Great Britain. They're probably where people centered out of Belfast, Ireland. And it was, I gather, in its time, a fairly large shipbuilding center along with Liverpool and Glasgow. So, and it might have been used by the American Navy and stuff like that. So, American influence, and so on and so forth. I'm going to talk more about how pallid the lyrics are.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was surprised you picked this one out to analyze because I don't care for it. But like you said, the pattern isn't technically demanding, but
no,
he pretty much nails it, and that's...
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for Ray singing "Tell Me What Did I Say," it wasn't for Ray. If it wasn't for his sound, would never have got off. Well, it says got off the ground and got off the ground. I think we say I don't know which one we say. I think it's your choice, right? I never would have got off the ground. I never would have got off the ground. I think you'd say got off the ground. Usually when you got a preposition following a verb, in North American usage, you accent the preposition. The idea is it's actually something like a compound verb. The preposition following is basically with the verb. However much it's not bound by spelling convention or anything like that. If it wasn't for a sound, I would never have got off the ground. Well, I think he would have actually. Without Ray, who, like he did one song called Jackie Wilson Said or whatever. I hear a lot of Jackie Wilson in this stuff. There's a lot of blues influence in the stuff. Yeah, so I think that's a bit of an overstatement. If it hadn't been for his sound, which was so profound, I don't think of Ray Charles. Maybe the sound is profound. I never really liked it that much. It's amazing how influential it was. The biggest kind of imitation of his sound, aside from the vocal sound, which is Joe Cocker. It's amazing. He took kind of the weird movements of Ray Charles while he's singing, and he extended it to his whole body, right down to the tips of his toes. You'll see it when he's kind of staggering around the stage at Woodstock, doing with a little help from my friends. He's just doing air guitar, and you were saying, "Wow, I'd never want to see someone play guitar like that," because he's really well. It's probably politically incorrect or whatever to say, but he looks profoundly spastic. That's Joe Cocker. And the line, the rhyme in the line, if it wasn't for a sound which was so profound, well, that's about the opposite of profound. That's about as shallow as you could get. Reinvented soul? No, he helped invent it. He didn't reinvent it. Rhythm and blues? Well, you could kind of say maybe came a little bit after rhythm blues really started cooking. I tend to think of this maybe a little bit before 1950, and Ray Charles was starting maybe 10 years later, maybe a little later, having success. Reinvented rock and roll. Well, he was there when rock and roll was being invented, so I don't think of him as being terribly rock and roll, but he had influence in rock and roll. I mentioned the Beatles. Used as, it looks like, the centerpiece of their act in Hamburg, other places. Extended cover version of what Ray Charles wanted to say. Apparently, they made a real radio. Country and Western too. Well, he did one country and Western, weirdly different. But that was influential with the critics. Sometimes critics just kind of ignore stuff that they don't want to know. Critics and I don't know, the white folks with black music, like they say a lot of blues musicians had quite a extended repertoire. It wasn't all just 12-bar blues, but that's what white folks wanted. They wanted to hear the 12-bar blues. I'm not sure why. Like one of the more interesting Rolling Stones covers of they used to do a blues cover every album, starting I think with Beggar's Banquet, 1968. One of the most interesting ones is sung by Slim Harpo, and it doesn't follow a typical blues structure, and at least so far as I've been able to ascertain and stuff like that. It's not the most interesting thing, but it's a little bit different, and it's not just structure, instrumentation. One of the most interesting things to come out of Woodstock movie, it's not shown in performance, but it's near the beginning of the, it takes a while for the actual performances to come on. And so they're showing the stage being built and all this sort of stuff. And they've got canned heat. They do have a performance by canned heat later on in the show when they're doing the performances, but they just have some canned stuff early on. And I think it's a 12-bar blues going down the country, or whatever it's called. And it sounds as though it's got a flute or something like that. Maybe it's a recorder in the background. It's not not the instrumentation you'd expect from a blues song. You expect some sort of guitar, acoustic guitar, or electric guitar, but it's city blues, Chicago blues, or whatever. So yeah, I think he basically followed the pattern, the prose pattern and stuff like that. Should be easy. So what does Pauline say here?
I already said it.
So you've said it there.
Yep, yeah. Already said it. We can go on to the next one.
Yeah, pattern isn't technically demanded, but pretty much nails it. Okay, so which is the one? How much time?
Haven't lost my sense of wonder is next.
Well, it's next on the page.
You have 8 minutes.
So again, Van Morrison, remembering now. Pull it up on. You can do split screen.
Yeah. Pull up. Haven't lost my sense of wonder.
Haven't lost my sense of wonder. So this is kind of like a reference, I think, to a song he did maybe in the 80s. Well, I think it's just called Sense of Wonder. Haven't lost my sense of wonder, even though things don't seem to be working. Haven't lost my sense of wonder, even though there's so much doubt. But when the feeling hits you, baby, that's what it's all about. Haven't lost my sense of wonder, just trying to find my way back home, back to the green fields of summer, to see where I'm coming. Had my fill, cause I've been through the mill, and I'm saying, Pauline says, please be still, but I think it's peace be still, but
oh, yeah. When I was looking up the lyrics for this one, they obviously got his lyrics wrong when they were.
Yeah, it's all the time when you're checking stuff up in the
and yeah, it's peace be still, but that it was written please be still, and later on there's some other things that are just even crazier. That but you'll get. Well, I'll read that if you like.
Sure.
Not going to give in to my feelings of despair or doom. I'm not going to tear up my head. Is what they wrote for the lyrics, and it's I'm not going to start tearing out my hair is what he sings, which makes a lot more sense than tear up my head.
Yeah, okay.
And then later on, go down further, and the golden value of time trying to get back. Well, that's not it at all. It's we think he sings in the golden autumn time.
It might be in the golden and the golden. Yeah, is that
yeah.
I think we were thinking it was autumn time.
Yeah.
Trying to get back.
Get back to my peace of mind. And with all the negativity we had, and we're not sure about that either. Take my land. No, take my hand. Trying to do the best I can. Gotta go someplace where they understand. Got to do God's plan best I can across the land. Blah blah blah. So anyway, that got to go someplace where they understand. It's the wrong rhythm. Some should get the accent, not place. So I got to go someplace where they understand.
Someplace as opposed to sometime.
Yeah. So that's wrong. But aside from that, I think the rhythm was pretty good. What do you think, James?
Well, we noticed that when he goes with da 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 da, English tends to be the accent tends to pile up at the end of a clause, a phrase, or particularly a sentence. So if you go like that, Van Morrison seems to like that pattern. Downbeat, da 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 da, like with the accent coming at the end. It seems to work out. There's one song here that we'll get around to, probably next time, called Colorblind, where he really messed up the rhythm.
He really did, yeah. Okay, so actually you have 4.5 minutes. You can do the next one.
Well, I'm just going to look at some of the lyric here.
Oh, okay.
We really should be
Look at,
maybe
yeah,
more
you're
than
right.
we have
We should be
at
analyzing the lyrics,
Yeah.
actually what he's saying too.
So
Yeah.
I got into Van Morrison in a serious way. I started reading Rolling Stone about 1970, and first Rolling Stone, my brother bought it. It was a very nice present. Was the John Lennon interview? I think it was the end of 1970 or something like that. With Rolling Stone. I think it was probably Jan Venner, Winner. I mispronounced the name. And I think it might have been that issue. Maybe it was a slightly later issue where they gave their awards for 1970. Their top 3 albums were Van Morrison, Moondance, Rod Stewart. I think that was Gasoline Alley, and there was a third one. It might have been Neil Young's After the Gold Rush. But I followed Rolling Stone fairly almost religiously, zealously, I would say, their pace. And how much did Moondance influence people? It's got one of Van Morrison's best, I gotta say. It's called Into the Mystic, and it's actually kind of like a pun. There's a mystic river, weirdly enough. It debouches into what ultimately becomes the Atlantic, and of all places, Boston. So when Van Morrison headed the United States from Ireland, Great Britain, really, he headed for Boston. He didn't stay there long. He headed for the West Coast. He headed for the San Francisco area pretty quickly. Into the Mystic, and there's he finishes up the lyrics, and there's a beautiful piano piece comes in at the end of it. It's a very short song, and all he says is, "It's too late to stop now," and that affected John Landau. Eventually, he was a critic at that point in time. He eventually became Bruce Springsteen's manager around 75, 76, somewhere around there in time for Born to Run. Released the album. And I bought a collection of John Landau's collected essays, critical reviews, whatever you want to call it. And that's what he entitled it. Too Late to Stop Now. That's when he had some hair and he didn't have too much fat on it. John Landau, you can always go back. You might not get the hair back, but lose the weight. It doesn't help out with brain function. Anyway, 2 minutes.
1 and a half.
Okay,
whatever.
So I'll pick up with this next time. I'm going to point out how many cliches there are in this. So Van Morrison was never much of a lyricist, and that's my ultimate judgment on it. Like if he's going to be something like a singer-songwriter and not work with a lyricist, he'd better work on being a lyricist. You either work with a lyricist or start working at being a lyricist. And he never learned. In fact, if anything, he's gotten more pallid and pale. So tune in next time. We'll be dealing with it. It's not as painful as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be bad.